Hello everyone and welcome back to a very short episode of the A10-CII Quick Start Guide. This time we're going to be covering taxi and takeoff, which is very straightforward in the A10. It's really easy plane to taxi, really easy plane to take off. So key things you're going to need to be looking at is your airspeed. Shown on the HUD over here is the one that I tend to look for. You've got your altitude here, which you can set to 0. Beforehand, just turn this knob, set it 0 for the airfield, and otherwise the only thing to bear in mind is your flaps indicator is down here and your steering wheel engage symbol is here. And this is the first thing we need. You want that to be on. You toggle it on and off with your steering wheel button, same one used to laser designate. If it's on, then your rudder will control the front wheels. So we can see that here the front wheel is being turned with rudder input, and so it is very easy to turn. It does have differential braking, but you don't need to worry about that, just use that front wheel. So start spooling up the engine a little bit. The plane will start to move. You want to keep the speeds relatively low. Generally, if you can see your speed on the HUD getting above 50, which is its minimum reading, then you're going too fast. Otherwise here, just using rudder input, I can nicely control it. If I start to slow down, I just boost speed a tiny bit, but really just sticking in the first sort of 10-20% of the throttle is more than enough. Using that, just taxiing here up to the runway. This is just a single player mission, so there's no other planes in the area. Normally you want to stop at this point and just double check, look down either end of the runway, make sure no planes are approaching. Once you're clear, you can head onto the runway. And again, just using the nose wheel, just line up with your desired takeoff position. Can line up in the center if you want to. The larger runway is easy enough to just line up on a halfway point. Okay, then I'm just using the toe brakes to slow us down, bring us to a stop. Just check everything is ready for takeoff. So, depending on your load, you may want to use flaps. On this one, I've loaded up with a very heavy load. And so I will be putting my flaps into the middle position. Can see the flap indicator there, just about 9 degrees. That is your combat flaps position, and that's all you're going to need for takeoff. Otherwise, all you need to do is put your throttle onto 100%, and your plane will start to move. As you go, just keep an eye on that speed indicator. Make small adjustments to keep you centered. Now, as our speed begins to cross 80 knots, I push the nose wheel steer button, that disengages it. Now we're flying using the aerodynamic rudder itself. Again, just keep us heading straight, making very small motions. Then when we cross about 130 knots, we can begin to pull back on the stick. And as soon as your wheels are off the ground, you can press the landing gear button to raise your wheels. Once the wheels are up, you can raise flaps. Then you can set yourself to your desired climb altitude. As I said, I'm very heavy here, so I'm just going to be climbing at about 5 degrees. Normally I'd be climbing higher, but in this case I do have a 2,000-pound bomb strapped into the middle. Otherwise, that is us up and flying. You can just keep a straight course until we get some airspeed, and then once you're up, you can just fly as normal. One thing just to note is, unlike most aircraft, the A10 absolutely can simply be left in its 100% throttle position. So put it there during takeoff, and you can just leave it there for the rest of the flight until it's time to land. Anyway, that's all there is. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below. And otherwise, I hope to catch you in the next video. Until then, be kind to yourself and everyone else. Cheers.